Good day, everyone, and our topic for this day is about rational equations. Our objective is to solve problems involving quadratic equations and rational algebraic equations. A quadratic equation is not always in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. For example, we have this equation, x is equal to 3 plus 18 over x. So, unang tingin natin dito sa equation, masasabi natin na itong equation na to ay hindi quadratic. It is because ang exponent present dito sa ating equation is 1. And we all know, in a quadratic equation, it is an equation in second degree. Okay, so the exponent of 2 ay dapat nakapresent dito sa ating equations. This may not appear to be quadratic equations. However, clearing fractions or eliminating fractions and transforming it to general form gives us this equation. X squared minus 3x minus 18 equals 0. So, sa ganitong mga klaseng equation, we can able to transform this into quadratic equations and magkakaroon tayo ng quadratic. Okay, so yung mga ganitong klaseng equation na x is equal to 3 plus 18 over x, wherein yung terms natin sa equation ay merong fractions, ay tinatawag natin na rational equation. When we say rational equation, this is an equation in fractional form with some variables in the denominator. So, steps in solving rational equations. Again, when we solve a particular equation, so we are looking for the values of x, okay, or yung mga values ng variable, or yung mga unknowns, okay, so or the roots. Okay, the first one is to find the LCD or the least common denominator. Number 2, multiply the equation by the LCD. Number 3, simplify and we have to reduce the equation into quadratic equation. And number 4, use any method to solve for the unknown. So, to reduce the equation into quadratic equation, so we are dealing, of course, quadratic equation. So, dapat yung equations natin dyan is 2 or multiples of 2. And use any method. So, we have 4 methods na pwede natin gamitin. Well, depende sa given. Okay, so pwede mong gamitin extracting the square roots. Okay, so next, pwede rin factoring. Kung factorable yung given natin, we can use also quadratic formula and completing the square, in which these methods can be applied for all kinds of equations. So for us to understand about rational equations, let us have first example. Example number 1. Solve the roots of 10 over x plus 1 equals 3x. Again, in your first impression to this equation, it is not in general equation and it is not a quadratic equations. So, if it is not, I think we can able to reduce it into quadratic and ma-eliminate dapat natin yung fractions. So, we have 10 over x plus 1 is equal to 3x. In this equation, the first step is to find the LCD. Obviously, ang LCD natin dito is x. Okay? Kasi ang x lang naman ang natatanging denominator dito sa ating fractions. And then, step number 2, we have to multiply the LCD to both sides of the equation. Since we have x, and then we have also x in the left and the right sides of the equation. So, whenever we have the LCD, we have to divide it to the denominator and multiply it to the numerator. Okay? So, x divided by x equals 1. Okay, 1, then times 10, we have 10. Okay, and then copy the operation plus. Okay, tapos na natin itong i-multiply ang x dito. Then, next dito naman, x times 1 equals x. And then, it is equal to the right side of the equation, 3x times x, we have 3x squared. So, after this, nakuha na natin yung ating equations. And obviously, ito na ay naging quadratic because of the exponent of 2 or it is in second degree. And also, wala na tayong fraction sa mga terms natin. So, next step is to make this equation in general form, in such as yung 3x squared, pwede natin ilipat sa kabila, Or yung 10 plus x ay pwede natin ilipat sa kabila. So, ang gagawin ko dito, inilipat ko si 3x squared and siya ay magiging negative 3x squared, then followed by the term having x plus x, then plus 10, and then equals 0. Since nalipatan natin dito sa kabila, wala natira dito sa right side. It is very easy for us to solve for the roots mula doon sa ating given, ay dapat yung a natin ay magiging positive. So, to make it positive, we have to multiply both sides of the equation by negative 1. Okay, para lahat ng terms natin ay magbabago. Since ang target lang naman natin, ang a should be positive. Again, lahat ng sign yung babago. So, we will have negative 3x squared, magiging 3x squared, and then positive x, magiging negative x, and magkakaroon din tayo ng negative 10, then equals 0 times negative 1 equals 0. So, after obtaining this quadratic equation, again, this is already in general form of a quadratic equation. So, next step is to solve for the roots of this equation, 3x squared minus x minus 10 equals 0. So, since this equation is factorable, pwede nating i-factor. Pwede rin gamitan natin ng completing the square or pwede rin gamitan din ng quadratic formula. So, in here, I'm going to use the factoring. Okay, so trial and error. Okay, so 3x squared, and may mga factors ng 3x squared. We have 3x times x. And then for the factors of negative 10, we have 2 times negative 5. Okay, we have also negative 2 times 5. We have also 1 times negative 10 and negative 1 times positive 10. So, lahat ng mga factors sa first terms and last terms natin ay masusubukan natin and dapat akma siya dun sa ating middle term na negative x. So, to solve for this, we have 3x squared minus x minus 10 equals 0. Okay, and then kapag pinactor natin, we have two sets of open and close parentheses, then equals 0. And then, lagay natin dito si 3x and then we have this x. Again, using the trial and error, try natin yung last terms natin. Okay, so try natin ang 2 and negative 5. So, we have plus 2 and negative 5. So, para makuha natin yung tamang equation, dapat pareha siya dito sa 3x squared minus x plus minus 10 equals 0. Dapat ang kalalabasan ng outer and inner terms is negative x. So, kapag pinag-multiply natin ito and ito, okay, we will have 2 times x, we have 2x. And then 3x times negative 5, we will have negative 15x. So, kapag pinag-plus natin yan, okay, since we are using trial and error, check natin kung itong sum na ito magiging parehas sa middle term. So, 2x minus 15x is equal to negative 13x. And obviously, ito hindi parehas sa middle term. So, ibig sabihin, hindi ito ang hinahanap natin. So, hindi natin siya gagamitin. So, paano naman kapag kukunin natin yung kabaliktaran? So, erase natin yung part na ito since, okay, so we are using the trial and error. So, paano kapag nandito naman yung andito naman yung 5, tapos andito naman yung 2. Okay, so let us try. Dito ang 5, tapos dito ang 2. Okay, so we have positive 5 and negative 2. Okay, 5x, we have also 3x times negative 2, we have negative 6x. And kunin ang sum natin, 5x minus 6x, magkakaroon tayo ng negative x. And fortunately, nakuha na natin yung kaparehas na middle term. So therefore, hinahanap natin factors para kay 3x squared minus x minus 10 equals 0 is quantity 3x plus 5 and x minus 2, then equate it to 0. So to get the roots, equate each factor to 0. Okay, so we have 3x plus 5 equals 0, and then x minus 2 equals 0. So, 3x is equal to transposition, making negative 5, then divided both sides by 3, cancels the 3, so we have x is equal to negative 5 over 3, and then the other factor, we have x is equal to negative 2, making positive 2. Okay, so therefore, the roots of 10 over x plus 1 equals 3x, or negative 5 over 3 and positive 2. And this is now our final answers. For our first activity, kindly answer this activity or this item for 3 minutes. Okay, solve the roots of 1 over m minus 3 equals 4m. Okay, solve this for 3 minutes. Next, example number 2. How about if we have solve the roots of 2 over p squared minus 1 over p equals 1. So, let us solve this. By having the LCD, we have 2 over p squared minus 1 over p minus 1 equals 0. Okay, so the LCD of the given rational equation is, okay, based dun sa ating mga denominators, p squared and p. Okay, so the LCD is p squared. And whatever the LCD is, multiply it both sides of the equation. Okay, and then after getting the LCD, yung LCD natin, i-divide sa denominator, and whatever the answer of it, i-times natin sa numerator para ma-eliminate ang fraction. So, p squared divided by p squared, that is 1. Okay, times 2 equals 2. Okay, so tapos na tayo sa first term. And then for the second term, p squared divided by p equals p. Okay, and then times 1 equals 1p or simply p. Okay, and then minus, tapos na tayo dito, tapos na tayo dito, i-multiply naman natin p squared sa negative 1. So, p squared times negative 1, we have negative p squared. Then, it is equal to 0 times p squared equals 0. So, let us arrange this in such a way that yung highest degree natin ay nasa first term and then yung constant term natin ay nasa last term. So, we have negative p squared minus p plus 2 and then equals 0. Obviously, the value of a natin is negative. So, to make it positive, multiply again both sides of the equation by negative 1 and we will have p squared plus p minus 2 equals 0. So, this equation now is the quadratic equation of the given rational expressions or the rational equations. So, after this, we have to solve for the roots. And to solve for the roots, any method will do. Pwede quadratic formula, pwede completely the square, pwede ring factoring if it is factorable. Okay, so try naman natin yung using quadratic formula. So, the quadratic formula, x is equal to negative b plus and minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So, from this quadratic equation, since it is already in general form, a is equal to 1, b is equal to 1, and c is equal to negative 2. Substituting all these values to this formula, so we have x equal to, i-negate natin sa b, we will have negative 1, plus and minus square root of 1 squared minus 4 times 1 times ang c natin is negative 2. Okay, and then all over 2 times a, which is 1. And then it is equal to negative 1 plus and minus square root of 1 negative 4 times 1 times negative 2 magiging plus 8. Then all over 2 times 1 equals 2. Okay, simplifying this, okay, we will have x is equal to negative 1 plus and minus square root of 1 plus 8 equals 9 all over 2. So, x is equal to negative 1 plus and minus square root of 9. What is the value square root of 9? That is 3. Then, all over 2. So, paghiwalayin natin yung dalawang numbers natin, or yung roots is such a way, yung isa ay plus and then isa ay minus. So, x sub 1 is equal to negative 1 plus 3 over 2. And then the other one is negative 1 minus 3 over 2. Okay, simplifying further, okay, we will have negative 1 plus 3 equals positive 2 over 2 or simply 1. And then the other one, negative 1 minus 3 is negative 4 over 3 over 2. Or simply, negative 4 over 2 is a negative 2. Okay, so therefore, the roots of 2 over p squared minus 1 over p minus 1 equals 0 are 1 and negative 2. And this is now the final answer. Activity number 2. Solve the roots of 15 over x squared plus 2 over x minus 1 equals 0. Again, any method will do to solve for the roots of the given quadratic equation as well as the rational equations. Solve this activity for 3 minutes. Example number 3. Solve the roots of 4 over x plus 4 over x plus 6 equals 1. So in here, copy the given. We have 4 over x plus 4 over x plus 6 then equals 1. And then multiply both sides of the equation by the LCD. So our LCD, we have x and x plus 6. So we have x times x plus 6. Okay, so multiply natin those LCDs natin. Multiply natin ang LCD natin to both sides of the equation. We have x times the quantity of x plus 6 and x times the quantity of x plus 6. Okay, so in here, yung LCD natin ay present din dito sa ating denominators. So, i-divide natin to LCD dun sa x natin. Okay, then i-multiply natin yung sagot dito sa numerator. So, dito kasi maka-cancel na yung x and ang matitira dito is x plus 6 and then yung 4. Ulitin ko, para ma-multiply natin itong LCD dito sa fraction, maka-cancel na dito yung x since they are the same and then matitira yung 4 and x plus 6. So, we have 4 times x plus 6 and then plus. Okay, i-multiply naman natin LCD dito sa second term. So, magkaparehas na merong x plus 6, so maka-cancel x plus 6, and ang matitira naman is yung x times 4. So, you have 4 times x, and then it is equal to 1 times x plus 6. Simplifying this, kailangan mawalang open and close parenthesis. And kapag may tayong open and close parenthesis, of course, i-distribute. So, 4 times x, we have 4x. Then plus 4 times 6 equals 24. Then plus 4 times x, obviously, that is 4x. Equals x squared plus x times 6, we have 6x. Okay, so to make it in general form, lahat ng terms ilipat natin sa kabila. And lahat ng mga terms na ililipat ay magbabago ng sign. We have negative x squared, then minus 6x, and then sunod natin yung may variable, 4x, then plus 4x, then plus 24, then equals 0. Okay, so and then, dapat lahat ng signs ay babaguhin natin since a is negative. We will have x squared. Okay, so plus 6x minus 4x minus 4x minus 24 equals 0. Okay, so in here we have combining like terms. We will have x squared 6x minus 4x minus 4x. Okay, so we will have negative 2x. Okay, so we will have negative 2x and then minus 24 then equals 0. So in here, dito sa end solution natin, nakuha na natin yung quadratic equation. Okay, so hindi pa tayo tapos kasi ang nakuha lang natin is yung quadratic equation. And to solve for the roots of this quadratic equation, okay, dito sa ating equation, ito ay factorable. So, pwede rin completing the square, pwede rin quadratic formula. So, we have x squared minus 2x minus 24 equals 0. We have two sets of open close parentheses. We have x squared, yung isang x, and then dito yung x. Then, hanap tayo ng factors ng 24 na kapag pinag-minus, ang sagot is negative 2x. Obviously, ang last term natin din dito is negative, so different sign, isang plus and isang minus. And nung hinanap nga natin factors sa 24, na kapag pinag-minus, ang sagot ay 2. We have 6 times 4. And ilalagay natin pinakamalaki number dun sa sign na parehas dun sa middle term. So, yung 6 natin ilalagay natin sa minus and then the other number is dun sa ating first factor. And then, nung na-factor na natin, paghiwalay natin factors, x plus 4 equals 0, and then the other one, x minus 6 equals 0. Simplifying this, we have x is equal to positive 4 may negative 4, and x is equal to yung negative 6 may positive 6. So, therefore, the roots of 4 over x plus 4 over x plus 6 equals 1 are negative 4 and positive 6. And then this is now the final answer. Solve the roots of 6 over x plus 5 equals x over 6. So if we have these rational equations, and kukunin natin yung ating LCD. And from this equation, the LCD here is x plus 5 times 6. Okay, so pwede nating i-multiply both sides of the equation by the LCD, or since we have two rational expressions and they are equal, pwede po natin gamitin yung tinatawag natin na cross multiplication. So we will have 6 times 6, and then it is equal to x times x plus 5. So, x times the quantity of x plus 5. Simplifying this, we will have 6 times 6 equals 36 equals, ito distribute natin, x times x equals x squared, then x times positive 5 equals 5x. Okay, and then to make it in general form, pwedeng si 36 ay nilipat natin sa isang side equation. So, we will have x squared plus 5x, and yung positive 36 by negative 36, then equals 0. So, pwede natin siya i-write as x squared plus 5x minus 36 equals 0. So, since we have now a quadratic equation, let us get its roots. So, since itong equation na to ay factorable, i-factor natin siya. So, we will have x squared plus 5x minus 36 equals 0. And we have two sets of open and closed parentheses. Then, kunin natin yung factors ng x squared. Yung isang x ay nandito, and then yung other side is x. Okay, and then since ang last term natin is negative, so different sign, isang plus and isang minus. Then hanap tayo ng factor sa 36 na kapag pinag-minus, ang sagot is positive 5. So we all note that the possible factors of 36, we have 1 times 36, 6 times 6, we have 9 times 4. Okay, so obviously, meron tayong nakitang difference ng dalawa factors, which is yung 5 na yon. Okay, yung difference is 5. So, gagamitin natin is yung 9 and 4. And since magkaiba rin tayo ng signs, ilalagay natin yung pinakamataas number dun sa sign na parehas sa middle term. So, dito yung 9 and then dito yung 4. Okay, and then equate each factor to 0. We have x plus 9 equals 0. And then x minus 4 equals 0. Then, x is equal to, si positive 9, ilipat sa kabila, may negative 9. And then, x is equal to negative 4, lipat natin, magiging positive 4. Okay, so therefore, okay, the roots of 6 over x plus 5 equals x over 6 are negative 9 and positive 4. And then these are now the final answers. Okay, for your activity, solve the roots of 4 over x minus 6 equals x over 4. Answer this for 3 minutes only. For our practice about rational equations, solve the roots of the following rational equations. Pause this video for 10 minutes to solve this practice. And here are the answers. I do hope that all your answers are correct. To end this video, I want to share one quote from Aristotle. Unexamined life is not worth living. Thank you and God bless.